Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have viewers visiting Luminess channel from all over the world. Hi, I'm Sean Matha, the founder of Luminess Air Cosmetics, and I'm standing in for Mark Harvey today. What we want to do is we want to show you how to use Luminess Air Cosmetics and get the most out of airbrushing. Brandy, how you doing?
Good, great. I'm excited to share some of the really simple tips and easy ways of using the airbrush system. Of course, if you have your system in front of you or you're having trouble using it, this is going to be a great learning experience for you to be able to actually utilize this in doing your eyeshadow. We have so many people asking questions on how to apply their eyeshadow, how to use it, how to make it look natural, how to actually apply it step by step. So that's what we're doing today, to make it as simple as possible for you. So this way you can really enjoy it and become a luminous expert at your eyeshadow.
Now, Shara, she has lovely skin to begin with, and we have a clean canvas. And I know we've talked about the canvas in the past airings. And the canvas basically is your face. We want to make sure that a foundation does its job. A good foundation is designed to even out the canvas so that you have a wonderful medium to put on your eyes, put on your lips, just to get just the most perfect look. So what we're going to start out today with is just a little bit of foundation to even out, Shara. So, Brandy, can we start here? Can you show us some of the basics of airbrushing your foundation?
I'm excited. Now, most women always want to ask, what do I do before I start this perfect, flawless look? Now, it's different per makeup artist on how they start out, but I always like to brighten up the eyes first, because this is the part where it tends to make the eyes look tired throughout the day. Even when your makeup starts to wear down or you start to look tired, the eyes hold everything up, and it's really a main focus point of your face. So I always say, especially with her complexion and everything, if you brighten up her eyes with a little bit of peach right underneath that eye, and you just apply it very little. Now, you don't need a lot, just very little, right there where it tends to be a little bit warmer.
Now, this is a concealer, and what we're doing is we're just brightening up around the eyes. Now, we will be doing the foundation in a moment following this concealing step.
That's right.
So now, this is a great shade for you. Now, I understand that you've been airbrushing for a little while now.
Yes, just about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Tell me about it.
I love it. It takes just like 5 minutes. It's so much easier to get it even, and it feels light. It's very light.
Well, that's one of the beauties of airbrushing foundation. It gives the effect of flawless skin without really creating that heaviness, without creating that gucky, mucky, heavy feeling on the face. So you really feel like you're wearing nothing.
Yes.
You know? Well, Brandy, can you get started here?
Right, definitely.
You want to start with the primer so that we can get a good primer coat on the face?
The primer is actually used for hydration in the skin. It also helps to even out the skin tone. So if you have those areas that are a little drier than the other areas where your T-zone tends to be a little more oily, it evens it out. So this way your foundation tends to go on with a perfect, flawless finish. So I'm going to go in, holding your stylus upright, and I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 drops. You don't need a lot. Now, if your skin tends to be a little more on the drier side, you probably want to add a few more drops. But she tends to be a little more combination, and I can tell because her pores right here a little bit open, and everywhere else seems to be just a little bit on the drier side. So that's why I'm choosing only to do a few drops. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to spray very lightly, starting in the middle, working my way around.
Now the primer, what it's doing is it's creating a very fine, delicate layer of priming, moisturizing, which is going to basically help the foundation connect with the skin. And a good primer also helps kind of smoothen out the surface and float the surface so that you get the most optimal adherence and just a flawless finish. Now, Brandy, you just put on a little bit of primer, and let's now apply a little bit of foundation.
I'm choosing the F4. I know that just by looking at her skin tone, she has a little bit of a pink undertone, and this is going to actually complement her skin the most. So I'm going with this one, and make sure not to forget to shake your product. Because it's 98% water-based, you want to make sure you shake it thoroughly before you go in and you apply your 3 drops. If you feel like you need more drops and it's not enough coverage, you would go in and add a few more drops. But it only takes a little bit of product to actually give that great coverage. So 1, 2, 3 drops of the product. Going to close the top and begin. My first thing I'm going to look for is the spots. Any spots or anything that I need to correct or cover is what I'm going to look for, so this way I can achieve maximum coverage. Now, if you look at her face, you'll notice she has little freckles and a little bit of sun damage right here above her cheekbone. It's actually right there where the apples of her cheeks are. I'm going to go in and cover those spots first. And also, make sure whenever you're pulling back on your throttle that you're pulling back with very little pressure. You don't want to pull all the way to the back because it'll release too much product. So make sure you pull very, very lightly.
Now, one thing about airbrushing, folks, is little goes a long way, and all you have to do is really touch the airbrush stylus, the little button, very delicately. You don't want to really gun it, and I understand if you are looking for additional coverage, essentially it means just a few additional coats or very fine lacy layers of foundation to create the perfect amount of translucence and coverage. Now, Brandy, you're kind of just going in there and just getting some of the detailed areas.
And one thing that I do have a lot of questions about with clients or even customers is they say, well, when I'm trying to cover up something like discoloration or acne, make sure that you don't go and spray heavily in that spot and then keep layering. Like he was saying, one small layer at a time will actually achieve better results. So as you can see, I've done one thin layer of coverage, and you can already see that very thin, small layer.
Brandy, let's get a couple of more. Let's just do half of the face here.
Sure, so you can see
absolutely. And guys, you know what? Airbrushing is fast. So Brandy, let's go. Let's show them how fast we can do this.
Definitely.
Now, as you're spraying in, you're again putting very delicate, fine coats of foundation. And you're evenly distributing it. Make sure that your wrist is always moving. And you want to keep your airbrush stylus about 6 to 8 inches away from your face. And I tell you what, I love these. It's almost a musical instrument here. You know? All right. So now we get a little bit more foundation. And we go in and just add a little extra coverage. And guys, again, we're just very delicately touching the stylus. The stylus is just giving a wee amount of foundation. We're not looking for a lot of product coming out of the foundation. It's a very common mistake to gun the foundation and want to just get immediate gratification and spray out a lot of product really fast. And you're not going to get the right look this way. All right? Take a look at this. All right? Can we get in a little closer? What we have right here, we've used our dewy foundation. Sorry guys, sorry if it looks a little shiny, it's just the lights. What we have right now is we've just evened out her skin in a very natural, light, subtle way. And of course, we can create as much coverage or as little coverage as we want. And it's very easy by just creating additional layers. So Brandy, I tell you what, let's go to town. Let's do the other side. Mm-hmm. And now keep one thing in mind, ladies. When you're doing your own makeup, you want to be in front of a mirror. The mirror needs to be in front of you. And you need to kind of look into the mirror as you're doing your makeup. It's very important that you get a good feel. Now, one thing beautiful about the airbrush is that it's always giving out a nice, cool stream of air, which is very refreshing, very relaxing. But it allows you to understand exactly where the product's going on your face. And of course, if you're in front of a mirror, it's wonderful to kind of keep an eye on exactly, where the makeup's going. Now, don't be afraid to keep your eyes open because, initially when you use the product, you're going to want to close your eyes because, hey, you're spraying something on your face, and it's a very natural reflex to want to close your eyes. But you can open your eyes. It's no problem. Our product is fantastically safe to use around the eye area. In fact, you could just spray it directly in your eyes. I don't recommend that, but nothing will happen. It'll just, it's just so delicate. It's so fine. You want to look into a mirror. You want to apply the product very delicately, and keep that wrist moving. The idea is to really give a nice level of shearing by introducing just the right amount of product on top of each other. And you can move on one side, go to the other side of your face, and you can really get a great look. Now, how are we doing here? Wow.
Great.
I have a question from Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Carrie wanted to know, because we were just talking about the concealer, if you would apply the concealer before the foundation and before the eyeshadows, or if you should do it afterwards.
Before the foundation, I'm sorry, Sean. Before the foundation, you could apply the concealer around the eyes before you apply the foundation, and also before the eyeshadow, depending on whether if you want to make sure that you have no creasing for the eyeshadow.
Good, thank you.
Now, one thing wonderful about concealers, our concealers are designed to work before or after foundation. You can use the concealer before the foundation if you're looking for, just a little bit of filling. If you want to fill in fine lines and wrinkles. Our foundation is designed to be extremely elastic and extremely whipped, so it holds its shape for hours. And you can also use the concealer after your foundation, and you can even use it as a touch-up product throughout the day. The concealer is fantastic. It can be used as a brightener. You can contour with it. You can do so much. Guys, just experiment. It's just so much fun. All right, so here we go.
Now we're going to begin with putting a blush. You can pick plenty of shades all the way from B1 all the way to B10. Depending on what blush comes inside your package that is complementing for your foundation shade, I'm going to go in with something a little neutral for her. A little bit of brightness actually, add a beautiful glow. I'm a pink girl. What girl does not love pink? And with your blush, remember, you need very little product. 1, 2 drops, very little.
You want to pucker up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as she gets ready to smile and show those cheekbones, I'm going to go in and spray this lovely blush on her cheeks. Now make sure that your cheeks are forwards this way. You know the heaviest amount of blush you're going to apply is right there at the apples, and you're going to blend that product out going towards the cheekbone in your hairline, okay? Now not all the way in the hairline, but towards that area. Okay, so very lightly, notice I'm barely going to pull back on the throttle. Allowing the color to come out, adding that beautiful color for a beautiful glow. You don't have to put a lot of product to add that beautiful glow to the skin. Now, if you're someone who likes a lot more of that blush color and a lot more definition, of course you can add a little more. I would recommend to wait for the blush to dry so you can actually see how much product you've applied first, and then go in and add. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of her cheek.
Now we're using our dewy foundation today. Now you can obviously utilize our dewy foundation or our matte series, and each one of the products has its own characteristics and is wonderful for it, depending on your skin type. If your skin tends to be dry, if it tends to be normal, you might consider going with the dewy foundation. It adds a little bit of extra moisturization to the skin. It keeps the skin glowing. It's a very modern, young look. And of course, we have our fantastic matte series for a more traditional powdered look. And with the matte series, you can also get an extra long wear. We actually invented our matte series for the film industry, and it was designed to give up to 50 hours worth of wear. So it really is very durable. It'll stick with you, it'll stay on you all day. It's great if you are in a hot area, like we're in Houston, and it's really warm over here. It's humid, and if you're in Miami, if you are in any of the humid regions of the States, you will love the product. And of course, if you tend to have kind of oily or shiny skin, you will also further love to use the matte series, because it will help. It'll help mattify your skin so it looks a little less shiny. It'll look just a little bit more natural. And it's a great way to look before any pictures, or if you're going for a social gathering. So here we go.
So now I'm going to begin on her eyeshadow. This is the part of the lesson that I know you've all been waiting for. If you look at her eyelids, what I did was I actually put a little bit of eyeshadow around her lash line before I began. Now, of course, naturally you do all your eyeshadow and you can follow with your eyeliner or mascara. But before I began, a lot of you, the questions I do have with that would typically be, how do I put the eyeshadow on without my eyes creasing? how do I begin to do this with the airbrush versus using a makeup brush?
Now make sure you are in front of a mirror to do your eyeshadow, and make sure you have a couple of tissues. The first time you do it, it's going to be very, obviously you want to go very slow. You want to use the product very sparingly so that you can get a good, feel of exactly how the product is going on your eyes. And here we go. Let's check it out.
Right. So I'm going to begin with one of our eyeshadow duos that we have that's called Nude. It's actually great for a natural look. And if you don't have this eyeshadow duo, you should go to luminess.com. You can go to Loom Cost actually and order this. It's a great duo for that natural look, especially for those brides out there or for everyday look for work or what have you. So I'm going to begin, and this is for the beginners. One of the best things that I learned, even doing it on myself.
Brandy, can we do it on this side right here?
Sure.
I think it'll just be easier on the
you can see better.
video.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
When you're testing out your eyeshadow, I always recommend before you go in and you spray on your eyelid for the first time, or even in practicing, so you can gauge your practice of how much product is coming out and how much pressure to use, I would recommend using a tissue. The tissue is going to let you know how much pressure to use whenever you go onto your eyeshadow on your lid. Now, if you're spraying too much, it's going to come out like that. On your skin, it's going to look wet. So you want to make sure you spray very lightly, okay? So again, I'm going to start.
Now, Brandy, one of the most wonderful things about doing airbrush eyeshadow is that you can get that very beautiful feathered look. That look which is just an infinite blend of shades. It just looks so natural and so fantastic. So here we go.
Okay,
Let's
great.
take a look.
So now I'm going to begin, and I'm first going to analyze her eye bone structure. Right here where her eye tends to crease the most is where I'm going to apply the warmer shade. Now remember, I'm barely pulling back on that throttle to release some color. This is a neutral color, so you won't see a great deal of color that I'm applying first. And I'm doing one thin layer of color, okay? So you're not going to see a great deal of a wet area because, again, I sprayed very lightly. I'm going to go in on the other side. Why did I choose to go on the other side versus this side to finish? Because I'm doing it on her myself, I'm choosing to let this eye dry before I go and work on the other side. Again, going back, I'm going to add a little more color.
Now, again, what we're doing here is we're building up. We're adding a very fine layer on layer. We're using the airbrush allows us to pixelate and use micro dots to create a very, very fine, just floating, beautiful shading of pigmentation on the eyes or on the skin. And what we're doing is we're just creating a little bit. I don't know if the camera can pick up this detail, but where I'm standing here, it has this really pretty, cloudy, soft look. And of course, you can get in pretty close to your eyelid with the airbrush. You can just be inches away. And again, you're just very delicately, very lightly. Now, ladies, if you're trying this at home on yourself, it's very easy to do this in front of a mirror. And I know I keep saying mirror, mirror, mirror. It's very important to be in front of a mirror when you're doing your airbrush makeup so you can get a real good instant feel and look of an understanding of exactly how your makeup is falling on your skin. Now we're going with a slightly darker shade.
I'm actually going to go in now and contour right there in the corner where her eye tends to be naturally. Okay, this is where I'm going to apply the darker color. Now make sure you test on a napkin or the back of your hand to make sure that the other color is out. You see how the lighter shade is coming out first? Release that first shade out, making sure that the second shade is coming out darker before you apply.
And we're just sampling it on a tissue here.
Right.
There we go. And of course, now that you have an understanding of the spray, you can just go in and go to the outer V of the eyes. We're actually right there, just creating a little smoky contouring shadow, and looks beautiful, looks very natural. It's adding just a wonderful shade of softness. Now, isn't that beautiful? Look at that, guys. Isn't that just so soft, so natural? You know, you would have to spend a lot of time with a regular brush, and you would have to be quite a pro to get that type of a soft look that fast and that cleanly. And voila. How fast was that? That was seconds, guys. Seconds.
I love
And now
it.
you have a beautiful, open the eyes. Hello. How does it feel? Congratulations, you got eyes on. That's the most beautiful thing about Luminess Air eyeshadows. It goes on so smoothly, it goes on so brilliantly, and it's light. It's airy. You don't feel like you have anything on. Now, one of the coolest things is those eyes and the eyeshadow is going to last all day. All right, you won't find yourself going in an hour or 2 hours, or at lunch, or at tea time, and just touching up those eyes. It will last all days. It is designed to give you fantastic long wear. And now what we're doing is we're just adding just a little bit more detail above the eyelashes. All right. Now don't worry if you get some eyeshadow on your lashes. Now here's a great little tip and secret. Guess what? Use your mascara on top of even the airbrushed eyeshadow that lands on your eyelids. It's going to make your lids look fatter, thicker, more volumatic. It's going to just give a little extra body. It's going to look fun. So don't worry if you get just a little bit of delicate overspray. It's fine. All right. So here we go, and we have done some basic eyes today with our airbrush system. Now, Brandy, can I ask you? Can we get a little bit more coverage, but this time can we use our matte foundation to really create a high coverage look?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, one thing beautiful about airbrush makeup is you can actually apply product on top of product, and it's just layering, layering, layering. Now, Brandy, what you're doing here is you're just blowing out and cleaning the airbrush. Now, it's very important to clean the airbrush after every use. And it's so simple, it only takes seconds. All you have to do is put a few drops of water, and now Brandy's back bubbling the airbrush to kind of clear out and loosen up any makeup that might be in the spray area of the airbrush. And all you do is you spray out all of the excess product which is sitting in the barrel. You just spray it out, and it just takes seconds, and before you know it, your airbrush is completely clean and it's ready for next use. Guys, the way I put it is, you keep the airbrush clean, and it's going to give you just endless, fantastic makeup. Every session, every time you do makeup, next time. If you don't clean the airbrush, or just put a few drops to just blow out the airbrush after each use, what you're going to do is you're going to diminish the performance of the airbrush, and it's just horrible if you're getting ready for an event, or if you're just getting out in the morning and your airbrush is spattering. You just don't want it to happen like that. All right. So here we go. Now she's using just a little Q-tip to clean out the barrel. And can I have that? Thank you very much. And we're ready to do some more foundation. Now we're going to use our matte series foundation here. And Shara, you're shade 4. All right. And what we're going to do is let's see if we can just get a little bit more coverage. And again, guys, you can just airbrush over, and you can until you get the right look. You can create, and you can. It's all about layering. It's all about getting just the most perfect coat of the most beautiful look. And what we're doing is we're putting a little bit of foundation 4 into the airbrush stylus at this point. And I'll help you out. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more coverage.
Sure. And again, as well as foundation, I'm just making sure to release anything that might be inside the throttle, which you see a little bit of the eyeshadow was still in there. So you want to make sure you go in, you check. Now I'm going to go in, and again, remember, working in circular motions, keeping the stylus moving at all times. You almost want to imagine yourself as if you're putting on a fabulous bronzer with your brush. However, no brushes, sanitary, better skin.
And I'm hearing this from so many of our customers. And I'm so proud to say, we have hundreds of thousands of customers here in the US and around the world at this point. And we get such great feedback from our customers. And our customers are telling us that their skin is changing. It's starting to kind of cooperate in a way. It's starting to look younger. The skin is starting to have its own natural look. It's looking kind of like rested. And what's happening here is our customers are discovering that airbrushing does not wear down the skin. You'll be surprised, if you're using your fingers or using a brush, you're actually putting a lot of wear and tear on the skin itself. And one of the most fantastic things about airbrushing is it's very delicate on the skin. It rests the skin. It does not allow the skin to feel fatigued. It does not stretch the skin. I'm telling you, if you're just starting out airbrushing, and if you're in your 30s, you are kind of almost in advance taking care and kind of helping out where those fine lines will start. You will kind of prolong and kind of delay that, because you're not putting that excess wear and tear on your skin. If you're in your 40s, if you're in your 50s, again, it's going to help you keep your skin looking as optimum. It's going to help you keep that elasticity in the skin as long as possible, and it's the most hygienic way of applying makeup. And here we go. We've added a little bit of coverage, and what do you think? Looks great.
How does it feel?
It still feels very light, even with the extra layers, still light.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually take these eyes and we're going to smoke them up. We're going to darken them. We're going to actually make them a little bit more exotic. Do we have any questions out there?
Actually, yes, we do. Faye wanted to know, how would you use the airbrush to highlight the eye, especially under the brow bone, to open it up?
That's so easy. Let's do it.
It's a great question.
Let's first darken and let's create some depth just for the camera, so that we can show you exactly how well the highlighting works.
Okay.
All right. And then what we'll do is we will create a little bit of a highlight to create those three-dimensional eyes, which just absolutely radiate. You know, it's said that the eyes are the soul of your beauty. You know, and I really believe that beautiful eyes give you the most beautiful look. And what we're doing is we're going to just smoke up the eyes a little bit so we get a more of a glamorous evening look. And we've just used some more of our darker shade in the kit. Now we have a variety of pre-made kits, which you can find at lumcos.com, lumcos.com, and they're available right now. And then of course we have over 30 some shades of individual colors that you can use on your eyes, and they're all available. We have the latest trendy colors to the most natural nude shades. And here we go. Let's take a look. We're adding just again a very delicate, fine, very, very soft amount of coverage onto the eyes. You want to go very lightly, and you can always keep adding up. And guys, listen, don't be afraid to make a mistake, because all you have to do is use your foundation. You can go right over it and lighten up the eyes, or just wipe it off. Don't be afraid to experiment. It's a lot of fun. And here we go. We're just darkening the eye right there, getting a more smoky evening look. Take a look at the difference between the left and the right eye. Again, more smoky. Can we highlight that? Or actually, let's carry on the other side. Now, we're also adding a variety of new videos on Video on Demand, so that you can see some of these techniques in more detail. Where we can go real close up with the camera and show you exactly how to do the eyes, and how to do a variety of different eye looks, from the most intricate, detailed blending to the most natural, soft, cloudy eyes. All right, here we go. We're adding just the right amount of shadowing right there to create a really exotic evening look. What do you think?
I love it.
What do you think? All right.
I'm going to go in and add a little bit more. Now that I look back, I need to add a little bit more just to even this out.
Brandy, can you show them really quick how far you're pulling back on the throttle to do the eyeshadow?
Absolutely. When you're doing the eyeshadow, you'll see there's 3 marks on the stylus itself. Make sure not to pull all the way back to the third one.
You're barely pulling back past the first line, barely pulling back, and you're very delicately applying the foundation or the eyeshadow. Again, guys, one thing, the most common mistake about airbrushing is spraying too hard. If I could just tell you one thing about airbrushing, spray as light as possible. I know that it's something, we just want instant gratification. We want to spray all the way to get the max amount of product at the same time, but it's all about the sheer, the real delicate, the fine, the crafted look, which just looks extremely exotic. It looks extremely natural. It looks extremely real. All right, and here we've smoked up the eyes a little bit, and Brandy is going to just blow out whatever's left over of the darker shade.
And the reason why I'm doing that as well, blowing out the darker shade, typically you don't have to rinse this out until you're completely done. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to switch to the lighter shade to go in and show, sorry, what was the request, her name?
Oh, her name is Faye.
Faye, we're gonna show Faye how we're gonna do the highlighting to really make this eye pop. And also, when you're highlighting, it can serve as for many purposes. Due to your eye shape, it can go in and really highlight underneath the eyebrows. And it can also make your eyeshadow even appear more dramatic than what it really is with the highlighting.
Heather, do we have any other questions right now which I can address?
Teresa, the most of the questions that we're getting right now is they want to see somebody actually do it to themselves.
Okay,
so we're going to
Brandy,
do that in just a second.
Let's do some quick highlighting and
Absolutely.
and then let's do Brandy's eyes here. All right, guys, this is very easy. Eyeshadow is hot. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's asking for it. Luminess eyeshadows are amazing. I know we were just recently on one of the big TV shows, and we were doing the eyes, and it was just looking so fantastic. I can't name the TV show right here or the star, but it was just fantastic. We were getting the most defined, most beautiful eyes. Eyes can take a while if you're trying to get just the right look. With airbrushing, because you get to blend and feather, you get to use multiple shades and get the most natural look without actually going in and spending a lot of time. And also, guys, there's one more thing which is very important about eyeshadows and airbrushing. You're not really pulling this really delicate skin. This is the most delicate skin on your entire body, and it's right over there on your eyelids. And with airbrushing, you're not premature aging your skin, pulling, tugging. You're not going to bag up the eyes. You're going to get very natural look very fast. Brandy, are we set?
We are. I'm going to go in and put the P2. This is one of your shades that is part of your metallic collection. I love this one actually. With almost any eyes, this looks great. I love to use this one to really highlight and accentuate the eyes. I'm going to start by going right underneath the eyebrow to highlight with it. And again, I'm barely applying pressure.
And see how it just created a beautiful new dimension. Now, of course, it's a little exaggerated. The look is a little exaggerated because of the hot lighting here in the showroom. But as you experiment at home, you'll see exactly how delicately, how beautifully you can highlight around the eyes and create those magnificent three-dimensional eyes.
Right.
All right, Brandy, are we ready to do your eyes?
Yes, we are. And I'm just going to finish up by adding a little twinkle in the corner of her eyes with this P2. I love doing this. This really accentuates the eyes and opens them up. Go ahead and open your eyes. There we go. Look at that celebrity glam in her eyes.
Fantastic.
Fabulous.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, Brandy. Let's do some eyes here. Let's show America exactly how eyes are done when you airbrush yourself.
Right.
Let's take a look, guys.
Okay, so I'm going to begin by getting a mirror, just like Sean had recommended. Everybody needs to have a mirror in front of themselves when they are doing their eyeshadow. Okay, now I noticed we didn't cover something with the eyes whenever you start. If you have problems with creasing and you want to make sure that your eyes are not as oily as they appear to be whenever you put on your eyeshadow, and for longevity of it, make sure you go in and you prep with a little bit of powder before you go in and apply. So,
can we get the camera in a little closer here to show some more details here on Brandy?
Right. I'm going to use the yellow powder, actually. We have 3 shades of powder. We have a white one, a yellow, and a beige. I'm going to use a yellow one just so this way I can go in and prep my eyes to make sure that they don't crease and it's nice and mattified. Especially if your eyes tend to be a little bit on the oily side, this is one of the best things you can do for your eyes. So this way the product goes on there nice and it dries up evenly, okay? Start off by doing so, and it just takes a few taps. Again, no need for brushes.
Now this is a great step to help fill in on some of the crepiness or fine lines in the eye area over here. It just gets the skin ready so that it just really pulls on those shades and gives the most natural, flawless look. Here we go.
So I'm going to begin, again, using the lighter shade of the 2. going to only do a few drops. And I'm going to, now one of the biggest questions is how do I do this with my eyes being closed? Easy, just like you would do your normal eyeshadow with a eyeshadow brush. It's the same concept. The only thing is you're using this where it's not touching. It's easier to do it on yourself because simple fact that you can feel it landing on your eyelid. I'm going to go in.
Now, those of you who have our Pro system, because there are two systems, the Beauty system, which is 1 speed, and the Pro system, you might want to bring the Pro system down to a low air setting so that you can get even more control on the airflow. All right, and this is well discussed in the manual, but you might want to go into the low speed if you have a Pro system. But if you don't have a Pro system, and if you're just using our Beauty system, no problem. You can just use the standard airflow and just delicately apply. Take a look at that. How easy was that?
All I did was just even out my canvas. So this way it's nice and even, and I'm going to go in with the darker shade in just a moment. So what I did was just even out, and look how nice and matte that is. Now notice I didn't have a hard time. Keep in mind that when you close your eye, you don't squint and make a squinty expression because that will cause your eyeshadow to crease. So just relax your muscles as much as possible when you go into cover. Now notice I have one eye open to help me see, and the other eye is closed. I'm applying the eyeshadow, and I know it's not that easy to see on camera there, but in person, this is actually something that's neutralizing my eyelid base, which everybody wants to make sure they do that. This is going to help cover any little varicose veins or anything that you have in your eyelids.
Sure. Now, Brandy, you're looking right into the mirror. You're close up into the mirror, and the airbrush is pretty close to your skin right there. Right. Is that bothering your eyes or getting
Not
into your eyes?
I mean, you could even do it right in your eyes without me blinking. It's just so light. The pressure is completely light. Now, that doesn't say that you want to spray the eyeshadow in your eye, but if you're having problems with tearing in your tear ducts and you have very high allergies, just make sure your eyes are completely closed. I myself have a habit of keeping my eye just a little open as I'm spraying, but if you have a problem with that and you're high to allergies, make sure your eye is all the way closed when you're spraying. I'm going to go in with the darker shade now, and we're going to have fun because I'm going to show you the same technique that I used on our model, but I'm going to go in with the more dramatic eye.
Do we have any questions about applying eyeshadow right here while Brandy's doing her eyes?
Right now, Cynthia, she just asked what she used before applying the eyeshadow.
Before applying the eyeshadow, Brandy used some of our translucent powder. It's a very fine powder which helps fill in some of the details or the crepiness or the wrinkling or fine lines on the eyelids. It's a very basic makeup artist trick which is not commonly known, but use a little dab of powder to even out. And also, it's a great tool to help suck up and pull up any oils which may be in your skin, which may kind of diminish the look of your eyes. So Brandy is going in and just kind of very softly, adding a little detail with the darker shade.
I'm following my bone structures. You can see right where my lid starts to crease is where I'm adding the contour. Now, if your eyelids are flat and you're having a hard time determining where your crease is, just close your eyes and gently place your finger against your bone structure. And right where your finger tends to dip in is where you should apply your contour. This is actually contouring with your eyeshadow. Remember, apply very little as you're starting and then go in to add more color. Like Sean was addressing earlier, you never want to spray too much or you'll have way too much to correct.
And you know what? You can go as little, as much. You can go backwards and forwards in the sense you can add more product. You can subtract by using a light, just back to your foundation shade to cover up and just to kind of erase the effect of too much product. Over here, Brandy is just very delicately. Look how closely she is to the eye, applying a very, very delicate amount of eyeshadow around her bone area and creating a very, very beautiful, subtle contouring. Do we have any other questions here?
Yes, Brandy. Donna actually wanted to know if you could use the concealer to basically mattify the eye first in case you have dry skin.
Right. Now, if you have dry skin, the concealer can tend to make it feel a little more dry. So what I would recommend is to use your everyday eye cream that that you use, and apply very little all the way around your eyes. Pat it in. Once the product has absorbed into your skin, go in with your concealer. Use very little concealer so it won't cake up on your eyelids.
Brandy, you know what? You can also use just a little bit of primer.
Exactly.
You can just
The
use a
primer
little bit
will
of primer to help
especially.
float, and it's really simple. The moist primer is fantastic for that application. It'll allow for all the pigmentation, the pigment of the eyeshadows to sit beautifully on the eyelids. Any other questions?
Really quick is they wanted to know how are you blending those two colors together?
Right. Well, actually, even if you have a hard time blending and you tend to make it, and actually I'll give you a good example. If you go in really heavy, I'm actually going to go in a little too heavy. Let's say I did it wrong and it was too heavy. Okay? And it's a big, dark crease that's just way too heavy. It doesn't blend in. As soon as you're finished doing that, you go in with the lighter shade to blend it out. But to better answer your question, it already comes out in very fine, very, very fine pixels that already blends the color for you. That's the magical thing about our
the magic of blending is if you go light blends with light. All right, light helps shade and kind of transition and ombre the shade from one color to the other very, very beautifully without any kind of demarcations or lines or bluntness. It's very feathered. Now, Brandy, let's see if we can actually go in and just even that out.
Right. I'm going to go in and do my other eye.
Now, keep in mind we have some of the most beautiful colors in our eyeshadow range here. We have some of the most fantastic colors which are coming out for fall. Right now, hey guys, red is going to be huge for fall. Red is everybody's talking about red, so keep an eye on it. Literally, no pun intended. All right, here we go.
So right now I'm just evening it out. And remember, the whole part about the blending is you can either choose to blend out the edges with a little bit of your color, or you can get your foundation or the lighter shade and blend it out. It's all about the look that you want to achieve.
Brandy, I think I think we have to wrap it up here.
Right.
Can you just give us any last minute tips here before?
Right. Make sure that when you're letting your eyeshadow dry in between, you can use the air as your styling aid. This is one of the biggest questions that I get whenever you're doing your eyeshadow. After you apply the color, you can use your stylus to let it sit there and actually air dry the product before you move to the next eye. If you want to go in and layer more shades, make sure to use this as a styling aid to get a faster result. This is my favorite part because it really makes the eyes stand out. And I'm just going to go right here in the inner corner. This is all about preference, whether if you want it there or not. I like it there personally myself because I just love my eyes to have that beautiful twinkle. And I'm going to go in underneath my eyebrow and just highlight. Now, if your eyes come in closer, this is a great thing for you because it really opens up your eyes. But if your eyes are set apart far, this is something you probably don't want to do, which is highlighting in the inner corner.
Heather, do we have any other questions here on eyeshadows?
Actually, they're just asking what the highlighting color she was using, and I just answered them, letting them know it was P2.
It's P2. P2 is a fantastic shade. Actually, there's also a frost shade that we have in our eyeshadow series, which is just fantastic.
That's a great color.
Frost is a more matte white highlighting shade. And then, of course, we also have P2, which is a very shimmery silver metallic. Another great shade we have is our iridescent. Can you just let them know about our iridescent
Right.
shimmer, which is also just fantastic on the eyes.
Pearl shimmer,
Absolutely, the pearl shimmer is just fabulous on the eyes.
The iridescent is beautiful when it goes on. It actually has the finish of a cotton candy tone, which depending on your skin tone can change. I love this color. For really, really light skin tones, this works great as a beautiful highlight over the cheekbone. It works great as into blending out eyeshadows. If you have a pink eyeshadow, a purple eyeshadow, a blue eyeshadow, and you really add just a touch of this, it'll actually bring that eyeshadow into a beautiful blend of an iridescent color that you have on. I'm just going to apply very little of it. I don't obviously have on any purples or blue, but I love this color. It's really, really beautiful. I'm going to apply a little bit right here just so you can really see it.
Fun. Look at that.
So if you look, I'm not going to go too crazy with it, but you can see it right here on my cheekbone. And it is, I know, a little hard for you to see on camera. So I'm just going to spray a little bit more so you can really see the product. It's a fabulous highlighter. Can you see that cotton candy glow that's right there on my cheekbone? I love this color. It's beautiful for eyeshadows, highlighting, etc. And you can also use it to highlight on your eyelid.
Well, Brandy, thank you so much for showing us how to do the eyes.
Thank you.
And airbrushing your eyes is one of the most simple, easy, fantastic, ways of applying cosmetics. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I want to really thank each and every one of you for spending some time with us this morning, and I hope that we've been helpful and answered some of your questions. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.